I want to hear from different voices. I don't want to just hear from people that agree with me. We're about to dive into some even deeper topics. Ask a Brother Podcast.
Ask a Brother Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Ask a Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff St. James. You know, the revolution is going to be because of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special announcement. Thanks to Chicago's very own DJ the Money Coach, we're celebrating the sponsorship for Ask a Brother Podcast and the grand opening of our luxurious resort in Zanzibar, Tanzania. DJ's giving away an incredible grand prize in March, a 7-day, 6-night stay in paradise, complete with ground transportation, incredible excursions, your own personal chef on the white sand beaches, and breathtaking sunsets. All you have to do is text BROTHA, B-R-O-T-H-A, to 972-640-9572, or scan the QR code for your chance to win. Pack your bags and we will see you in paradise. Again, text BROTHA, B-R-O-T-H-A, to 972-640-9572.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Ask a Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff St. James. And after the 3 or 4, even 5 streams that I've done this week, tonight is the final show of this week. So I am absolutely excited, super happy. Thank you for everybody that's tuned into all the different episodes, interviewed, the different panels and different things that I've been on over the course of the week. Y'all have shown love. Y'all have been watching, engaging, hyping up these videos. Absolutely appreciate it. So guys, this is the show. This is the show because number one, this is a call-in show. Y'all know I don't do these often. Ladies, if you absolutely want to be in, if you're single, let's start with this. This is for the question is, why are you single? That is today's topic. And myself and my co-host, who I'll be introducing in a second, is going to be going over that. But before I even get to all those other things, the first thing I'm going to do is post in the chat right now the link for anybody and everybody that are single women that are interested in wanting to join in the conversation later on throughout the course of the show. Just make sure you dressed, make sure you use the appropriate language, and most importantly, make sure that you have a quiet space that if you want to actually get real feedback and real advice, either from myself and or my co-host, which I'm going to be introducing in a second, that is the link. So actually what I'm going to do is do call and link. So if you all see that as you're starting to tune in, you will see I just labeled it call in link. I'm eventually going to pin it over the course of the conversation. But the initial link that's at the top, so shout out to the people from our original sponsor, which you just watched, was from DJ the Money Coach, as well as the folks of escapetozanzibar.com. Listen, y'all, they have a raffle. They have a surprise $20,000 trip to Zanzibar. I think it's 4 days, 3 nights or something of that effect, or even maybe a little bit more than that. The point is, guys, sign up, rewatch the video, follow the advice, click on the link, one that I just posted in this chat, as well as the links that are on my actual channel. So make sure you guys check it out. And shout out again to the people at escapetozanzibar.com. All right, y'all. So like I said before, this is not just about me. I'm not going to be the only host doing this particular evening. So I'm going to introduce her. But before I even introduce her, I see that we had about 20 to 25 people that are already starting to filter in. Y'all know my rule and how it works. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. Please make sure that you hit that like button, and absolutely please, especially to all the single ladies, feel free to send it to your homegirls, girlfriends, aunts, cousins, etc. Send it to your people, because I think this could be very, very helpful, especially to the ladies when it comes to just understanding certain dynamics that could be impacting why it is that they're having so much difficulty when it comes to relationships. So if you're in the building, please make sure that you comment. Let me know that you're here. I do see a couple people already in the building. Some of my tried and true admins are in the building. Miss Couture, appreciate you, madame. Who else is here? Mrs. Plum, always holding it down for sure. So listen, DeMarco is in the building. Yes, sir. Don't you call in, sir. Don't you call in. Do not, fellas, I'm telling you right now, do not piss me off and start this nonsense. So fellas, don't put no wig on. Don't put no dress on. I don't care about who you identify with. This is for ladies, and what we all knew prior to 1995, what a lady was. This is for ladies to call in. All right, so just keep that in mind. Shout out to my guy AJ, always showing love. So guys, feel free to make sure you hit the like if you haven't done so. And then we're gonna now that we're here, I'm just gonna now start welcoming my co-host for this evening. And again, she is a friend of the show. She's been on multiple times. A lot of y'all have absolutely loved her, and many of you have even told me over the course of us working and putting the show and stuff together how her and many other ladies that's come on this show, have you started following her, engaging and loving so much of her work. So it only made sense to welcome this professional on. So please, please, please help me welcome again to co-host tonight's episode, Miss Taylor Chandler. What's going on, ma'am?
Hello.
Yes, sir. She is in the building. She is in these YouTubian war streets.
My goodness.
The battles, the arguments. First of all, you've been going mini viral for the last few weeks now. You good? You all right?
I'm good. You know, I know why I'm here. And I know why I'm here. So it's feeling good. I'm so glad to be back. I love being with y'all. I love the show. You know, I love the work that you're doing, believe in the work that you're doing. I see beyond even where we're at right now. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Listen, again, welcome. And everybody, if you are new to my channel or if you have never followed Taylor before, please make sure you find her on Instagram and on YouTube. Highly, highly recommend. She be holding us accountable as men. She be hitting me harder than I think even the guys do in this space. And we need it. And I think that the reason why you're getting so much pushback is because you're probably doing something right. So kudos to you for kind of stepping out and just, you know, doing the hard labor work for sure. So again, everybody, just to make sure, again, this is for female callers only. The link, I've already posted it. I'm actually going to pin it as we speak. Thanks, AJ, for that. So when I'll let you guys know, and probably in the next 20 to 30 minutes, depending on if people kind of pop in the chat, if people click on it, again, please make sure that you're dressed professionally, that you have a quiet place so that you can actually hear the call and we can hear you. And most importantly, that you just watch your language and refrain from making any threats towards to the host or the co-host of today's particular topic. All right. So listen, let me go to my live real quick to make sure I do this correctly. Why are you single? I see that we are hovering around 39, almost 40 people currently. So guys, again, if you're currently watching this, highly, highly recommend that you send it to every woman that you know, especially those that are single. And then when I go to where's my comment at? Call in show link, boom, 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 and replace pin message. All right. So it's official, y'all. This link is actually up. It's live and it is pinned to this channel. So again, if you are a single woman, feel free to kind of check in. But for starters, funny enough, you was kind of going a little bit back and forth with some professionals when it came to particular topics that you thought could be impacting women's or even Black women's issues in the dating market when it comes to why it is many of them may be having more of a difficult time or even less options. Do you want to speak at all to like what that topic was? Because I do have a video in mind that kind of relates to that you think could be potentially impacting it.
Yeah, so the three big ones that I point out are body, body, talking about health, physical health, appearance, okay, and body. Attitude, that's a big one. I love talking about an attitude. That's huge. Okay, attitude, and mindset. So those are three things that I like to bring forward for women to focus on that are I think, and I dare say I know are greatly impacting their experiences in dating and relationships.
Yeah. So listen, you mentioned body, and we can start with that when it comes to body and weight, because for whatever reason, that is definitely one of the touchy topics. And it seems like very few people can hear that and receive that. From your vantage point, why is body, both in terms of, let's say, weight and even image, why is that important when it comes to why as many ladies might end up being single?
So why body is related to women being single. We have an overweight problem. Like we have an overweight and obese problem. Yes, in America. Okay. We really do have I think we've all heard, like, we have an obesity epidemic in America. And particularly in the Black community, we have an exceptional problem with overweight and obesity. One of the reasons it's so difficult for Black women specifically to receive that as something to work on is because, honestly, BMI has limitations, particularly related to race. And so where the BMI, as it would categorize as someone as overweight or obese, there are differences in body types related directly to race, where people can end up in the overweight or obese category for things that, like, for example, muscle mass. So someone has higher muscle mass, and Black bodies tend to have higher muscle mass than other bodies. So that, for example, is a reason why, like, many people can use that as a valid reason to dismiss the idea that they're overweight or obese. But it's a big problem because it's attraction. Men generally, I have to put so many disclaimers out because you know how they come for us. You got to say generally.
Go ahead. I'm used to it at this point. And in fact, we're gonna just step on the eggshells. Let's just step on them. Because at the end of the day, if the goal is truly, we want, especially the women that are watching this, to really, really receive whatever it is you're about to say. Like, this is real. Just put it out there. You ain't got to be like, crazy with it, but let's just put it out there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we need to be able to just be real that we have too many overweight bodies. And it's simply, if I could put it so simply, it's just not attractive to many men. Then we have the conflation with thick. Okay, so we have the conflation with thick. So it's like men who like thick. I can't believe we're having this conversation, but
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Men who like thick, women will often be like, well, men like that, but then there's the overweight and there's the obese, and that's not the same as being curvy. And so there's all these kind of ways out of the let's say the concern about overweight, because we can throw in, well, we like thick, and BMI is for white people, and I'm not really overweight. So there's all these ways out of the issue. But when we're talking about we're talking about men's experience, and this is an interesting note, actually, because I know a lot of men like data and statistics, right? We like the numbers. But honestly, women have a good argument when they say, well, the numbers may not be accurate because I have a curvy body. So now this is actually where men would have to rely more on their subjective experience of saying that you're too big. Like men are saying you're too many overweight women. I'm not attracted to this kind of body. And there are a whole lot of bodies like that. So I'm trying to say this as professionally as possible, Jeff. Okay. There's a whole lot of bodies like that. And so it really is affecting women's opportunities in dating. It's definitely not the only thing. It's absolutely not the only thing, but it is one of the things that's getting in the way.
Listen, I appreciate that. And then Dr. Duawa, she's a health psychologist. She writes, it is a problem. I just published a nationwide study on this matter, exploring physical health and psychological well-being in Black women. Appreciate you, Ms. Dr. Health Psychologist. This is a real thing. And it's, like you said, it's a touchy subject. There's a whole host of justifications and or excuses for why it is that every time it's like, oh, don't go by BMI, and it's like you get to a point to where it's like, I understand body positivity, but not at the expense of your health, and B, not at the expense of you reducing the amount of quality options you could have in the dating market as a woman. And listen, you more professional than me. Some of the biggest women I know is in the church, and they talking about where's all the men. Not where all Never mind. Let's.
We're just getting with the warm up.
hey. So I'm going to play a clip of a professor who's actually going to speak on this and explain how this ideology, how a lot of feminists have latched onto it to where any critique of women and their bodies is now seen as and again they're like this any attempt to let women know that they need to kind of stay in shape. This is now alluding to like attempts to be beholden to the patriarchy, some stuff. I'm like, well, who do you want to be in a relationship with, men or women? And I'm like, and if you want to be in a relationship with men, and most men tend to like a certain figure, are attracted to certain things and not attracted to certain things, you can label that whatever you want. But if the goal is to be with a man or men, you gotta have to know what men are typically drawn to. So I think this professor is going to capture it pretty well. So I'm going to play that, and then we're going to see what your thoughts are. So one second.
I think to have a successful marriage, and I'm certainly no prophet or expert on what people should do when they get married, but I think you have to be attracted to your spouse at some level, and so we should try to understand what that attraction is at some level. I've been happily married now going on 40 years. And I think an important feature in all that is to be attracted to, not just physically attracted, but mentally attracted to that person that you end up with. So I've just found some crazy things in feminist studies. You're probably aware, I wrote about this in the paper about fat studies and, how they're promoting this idea of health at any size,
right?
What it is,
right.
And it's quite disturbing, because when I go to the medical literature and I read about it, there is nothing in there that says you're going to be healthy if you're overweight. Your chances of cancer, heart problems, diseases, they all go through the ceiling, particularly if you're obese. So I can't believe that they're promoting this idea, and that it's all part of the patriarchy to think that overweight women are not good looking, that this is all cultural, and it's really not. Almost across every culture, being obese is generally thought of as not a good thing. Now, there are some exceptions where there's been a culture that has been primarily has a small amounts of food of high protein. They tend to resource. Exactly. So good point. So anyway, but for the most part, if you ask in culture, attractive is generally associated with something less than overweight.
All right. What are your thoughts about what the good professor had to say, and really like confirmation for what you kind of started with?
Yeah, attraction matters. Attraction matters, and how much you weigh is affecting how attractive you are. I mean, it's quite simple. I think that there is likely not a misunderstanding of that on the woman's side in general. I don't think there's confusion. I think there's resistance.
Now that makes, that makes sense. I don't think there are women. We talk a lot about these degrees and level of education and ability to get these type of careers and jobs. The idea that they don't understand or know that weight could absolutely be a factor. I think they do. And I also think that whether it's the implications of acknowledging that socially, the guilt, the feelings, the shame, these are very, very prevalent thought processes that I think a lot of ladies struggle with, versus acknowledging that, like, you're right, I do need to lose 20 pounds. I do need to lose 40 pounds. Like, even if they know that, saying that out loud is one thing. The secondary piece, which I'm going to say this is connected to it, is a lot of ladies that should be losing weight or should be, getting their bodies more in order. They're surrounded by yes men. They're surrounded by ladies. You look good, girl. You look great. Oh yeah, you can rock that. And all the while, I'm like, that's not a real friend. I'm not saying your real friends got to say something crazy or harsh to you, but they'll go out with you knowing that you look worse than you should because I'm going to say it, a person that will go out with a woman that she knows looks a mess and allows her to do that. Not only is she not a friend, she sees you as a form of competition. Because now if they're comparing me to her and she looks a mess, they're going to now see me as more attractive. I see it all. Tell me I'm lying.
That's real. The covert, we were just talking about this on a live I did with Miss Rebecca, which was really good, y'all. I highly recommend you tune into what she has to say on my channel. We were just talking about the covert. We don't even use the word competition, but we're talking about the covert dynamics of female relationships. We didn't get it. I mean, it's a very big topic to cover. We brought it up just like kind of as a point to be aware of. But there are these covert dynamics that happen in female relationships much too often, where there are these, let's say, sneaky, shady, underhanded motivations and behaviors that can be rooted in competition is one of them, which is, of course, closely related to jealousy, feelings of insecurity and things like that. And so there can be, it's almost like a setup is kind of what you're describing, what I hear. And that is, it's almost like a setup to make you, like whatever woman, make you look better. So that absolutely can happen.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate. And I'm going to now play a clip from Miss Maggie, the substitute teacher, for those who are fairly familiar with her, where she talks about how the quality of your friendships can impact the quality of your relationships as well. And this doesn't play just into weight. This applies to across the board. They hear that you and your boyfriend or husband are going through something. Are they the type that's pushing you to fix it, to build it? Or are they constantly knocking down the relationship or knocking down men? Are they encouraging you to do things that you shouldn't? Are they not encouraging you to do things that you should? Why are you making his plate? Girl, you look great when they don't. Like it's the quality of your friendships, the social circles. This is a big piece that I think ladies, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is about friendships, social media, negative. So much of what they're being told is not only not good, the very things they need to hear. It's like they had this visceral reaction, and I'm like, that's probably the missing piece. The missing piece is that. So I'm going to play with Miss Maggie real quick, and then we're going to, see what you think.
Women aren't really great for your relationship.
Why do you say that?
If they don't want or have the same type of relationship that you do. I have heard people say, it don't take all that. Why are you cooking for him? Why are you packing extra? What is he doing for you? I'm not listening to that. Go live your own life. This is what I'm doing. But I do have girlfriends. We get together once a month. We have kind of like our ladies of leisure. I'm really okay with, a select few. And my man is the priority. So, whoop, yeah.
You heard it here first, guys. You heard it. With my girlfriends, what I did is I used to have girlfriends that were all over the place. And I realized that you are a combination of the 5 people you're closest to. So you want to make sure those people are where you're wanting to go. So my girlfriends now, when I tell you, movers and shakers and supportive, and we all kind of have the same goals and we all have the same types of relationships.
That's good.
So when you're going through something with your guy, your husband, and he's saying, whatever, my girlfriends are the one that's just like, girl, you better get back in there. Divorce is looking ugly. You don't want to know what's out here in the streets.
Because I didn't really have that community coming out of corporate America, I work with a lot of masculine women. And so it was hard to have that type of friendship. I'm usually that friend. I'm usually that one saying, you don't want to be out here. No, he wasn't mean. This is just how men are. They are very direct in their communication. He's not trying to hurt your feelings. He's trying to protect you. So I'm usually that strong.
Yeah. Well, first of all, how prevalent in your mind is the issue she's pointing up? Is it super common? Is it like half and half, or is this like it happens, but it's not nearly as frequent in terms of like the quality of friendships negatively impacting women's ability to maintain quality relationships?
Unfortunately, and I like to be honest, unfortunately, I think it's definitely more often than not. I totally agree. I totally agree with every single thing that Miss Maggie said. It is uncommon to be a woman like her, a woman like me, and there just aren't many of us. So normally the circle is really small because we know it's not, nothing can make us not believe that having those more antagonist voices around it's going to be detrimental. Like there's no, you can't, we know it. And so you have to be incredibly particular about the people. That's just a people thing. But because I think it's more of an issue with women. You have to be, and as a woman, we're talking about friendships with women. You have to be incredibly particular about the kinds of women, the types of women who you have close to you, for a variety of reasons. But it absolutely matters, and I think that the detrimental impacts of female friendships is more of an issue than women realize, and definitely, even if they're aware, I hear this kind of thing, they're usually not making decisions about it. I'll give you an example. Like I can have a female client, and we can be talking about the some whatever issues that are showing up in the female friendships.
Yep.
And what I've noticed much more often than not is that even when, and she'll know that I'm telling the truth, she'll know that I'm like, she will be trusting what I'm saying, believe what I'm saying, can lay it all out. And she much more often than not won't make the decisions to end the friendships. So we'll still maintain it. So it's really problematic. I think it's much more of an issue than not for most women.
Ladies, a lot of y'all, when it comes to singleness, have a tendency to place out in the ethos and basically say like all that's wrong with my issues is just the men. And again, men got our issues. I was just going off last night about men and cleanliness and a lot of the valid complaints that women have about guys and living with guys and how difficult it is for y'all to deal with us sometimes. Ladies, you have to reevaluate your circles. I don't know how else to tell you. And again, this is going to extend not just in terms of like your immediate social influencing factors, but also like social media. If you got write down a list of all the people in your life and be honest with yourself from an assessment standpoint. Are they pro the type of relationship you want or against it? Are they pro marriage or are they against it? Are they pro male leadership or are they against it? Are they pro men being the head of a household or not? If you have too many of these people around you, chances are your circle determines your outcome. Your environment is shaping your future. This is what's going on. Too many of you are listening to bitter, broken, unhealed women that made maybe poor choices in terms of selections and mates. And they're speaking over your future dating prospects. They're speaking over your marriages. They're speaking over the relationships you currently have. So if you are single or perpetually constantly being single, a key thing to kind of slow down with, beyond looking at some of the other things we're going to bring up today, is the quality of the women that's speaking over your life. Sometimes you may need to step outside your circle, surround yourself with women that have the type of relationship you're looking for, that has the outcomes you want. If I was looking, to get into a particular business or industry, attaching myself from a business model to somebody who has no experience in it can't help me in any significant, meaningful way, and thinking that their advice is going to help me way more than a person who's been working in the industry for 10, 15, 20 years, has worked their way up and has been in every segment of phase of what it means to start from the bottom and work their way to the top. It's an obvious choice. I'm going to go to the people who have the experience. The people who have the experience, the equivalent of that here, are the people who have healed and whole in perspectives of men. This could be men. This could be women. This could be married folks. This could be widows. This could even be some divorced people. their actual current status isn't nearly as important of whether or not they have healthy, legitimate advice and feedback that helps you look at other perspectives outside of your own and the other women around you that tends to not like men that much. Am I talking crazy?
You're on it.
Okay, listen. So one of the ones I wanted to throw out there that for my notes that I was, reflecting on was hyper independence blocks vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
The I don't need a man, I want a man thing. Men aren't important. Do we need men anymore? I'll pick the bear over men. All this insane foolishness, right, has gotten us to a point where hyper independence is now being kind of clung to as like a badge of honor. And to be fair, men and women are doing this now. In the last 5 years, I've never in the history of my life heard of so many men talking about they're done with women. Yeah. Hey, I don't know how much I believe some of them, but that's neither here nor there. But when it comes to hyper independence, this can show up in so many different ways. And the first of which is it's usually in fear of something. And it's usually in fear of being abandoned, fear of being disappointed, or fear of being dependent on somebody that can end up hurting or harming you or leaving you, out to dry. And hyper independence, we especially see it with people who are really, really big on leading when it comes to relational conversations, date conversations. They're leading so much when it comes to what they bring as far as their academics, their accolades, their careers, what they want in life, what they want to do. What is being communicated to men that I think, especially men that want a family, that want a marriage, they want to build, is it doesn't seem like she has room for me. It seems like, it's one thing to be like, oh, she's self-sufficient. It's another thing to say, oh, she doesn't need or really want me like that. And I think that's how it comes off. So from hyper independence to saying like, I don't need a man, as a woman, and I'm sure you've heard women say this, what do you say to that? And what do you think that that's like actually communicating to the men that are sitting across hearing this type of stuff?
Well, there is the whole like want versus need thing, I think is it's an interesting, like prickly, like conversation, because there are many women who do not materially, like who they are not experiencing like deficits to the point where they're in desperation. Let's talk about present time and not forecast into what might be happening, 20, 30 years from now in retirement and all that. I'm about present. So there are many women who are like looking around like, I'm literally taking care of myself. Like I'm paying all of my bills. And so when it comes to this idea of like not needing a man, some women they're saying it literally. Like, and so when someone is saying, I don't need a man, I think, and we have to do this in a lot of different aspects of this whole conversation between men and women, we have to understand, like, what does that mean? What does someone mean by that? Because I think many are saying that in the way that I just depicted it. And what might not be happening next in a lot of those conversations is getting her understanding of where she sees a man fitting in her life. And so I think often a lot of these conversations end too soon. So you can hear something like that and it flags for a lot of men. And then there's not this opening of, well, where does she see a man fitting? And where does she actually see that connection point? So I think there is the opportunity for an expansion of that conversation, rather than just stopping it at, well, she doesn't need a man, because like if she doesn't like literally doesn't see a practical deficit, tangible missing in her life, she can be speaking from that place. And I'm telling you, there are some women that are like, what's wrong with that? Right. And I think that there's a valid point there. There's a valid point. I think where it is problematic is where we get to a place where there's you're so independent that integration is not like integration, coming together, intertwining, like those two words kind of like work for me here. Integration, intertwining with a man is something that has become like a non-option for you. Like that's a different level. Like I think you should have levels of this conversation.
It is.
Like,
It is. So the first level you're saying is the women who actually mean it. They don't need or want men. They're not interested. They're asexual. They're just not interested in relationships. They're gay. Whatever the reason is, or they're just turned off by men. They actually mean that. Then you have the ladies who mean that in terms of day to day. Meaning like romantically, I would need or like and want a man, but I don't really need them day to day to do life.
Yes.
Right?
And so what I think is really important, you're hearing me exactly right. And so what I think is really important there for women who are in that level. So let's just take the ones that are just truly shut off. Again, I think that that's the minority on both sides that are just like, I am totally done. Though they do exist, they're outliers, and they really like to tell us how they feel. Okay. So they exist. They're not the majority. I think more people are actually in that. More women. I'll keep it specific. More women are in that. Are in the latter depiction, where that you just reflected back. So, in that case, when you asked me what I would say to her, or what we would be looking at, is her attitude around that position. It's the way that you go about being in that position. I like to use the word posture, like the posture that you're taking in that position. That can either have you come off as defensive and antagonistic, okay, which is very unlikable, or you're still receptive and you're open and you have the let's use the trigger word submit. Okay, let's just go ahead and bring it into the conversation.
She's jumping out. All right, Taylor Chandler, welcome to the show. She is here. She's in the building. She has mentioned the word submission. We have danced. It is time. It is time. So again, funny enough with this word, right? Like all relationships don't look like this. Now, all women don't want that. All men don't want it either. Some people do, some people don't. I think my view is as true as what you're saying, and I actually agree with you 100%. All women don't mean the same thing when they say that. The problem is, what do the overwhelming majority of men that are, how do men that are healthy and have options and have different choices of women, if one of them says that and the other two doesn't, does that put her on same equal footing with them? Does that make her less of a candidate? I'm going to speak as a guy. If I have options and I'm not desperate, the last thing I'm going to do is be drawn towards the woman who already told me what she doesn't need. Plain and simple. And the problem is, as great as like this nuanced conversation is, and it is legit, all women don't mean the same thing. Why dress, do, wear, or say the things that resemble and sound like the women that absolutely don't want men? It doesn't make sense. If there was something that I could do or say that mimicked what most gay men would do or say, and I had the option to choose other ways to communicate it, and I'm intentionally choosing to do the thing that everybody knows is associated more often than not with gay men, I can't be super shocked when people start looking at me and being like, yo, he on the other side of the fence. Like, they'd be like, why would you say that? Just because I was at Pride and wearing a purse and doing this and doing that. I'm like, well, you're using a lot of the cues that most people would associate, especially when they haven't had the time to see truly your attitude, see where you're coming from. First dates, when guys are scrolling and they see what you're posting in your stories on your post, a lot of times that's the first impression. And if the first impression is using language that sounds like women who either really do truly don't want to be with men or even flat out hate men, it's actually hurting you, to me. Am I off with that when it comes to, like, do you think a lot of guys interpret it the way I would?
I think a lot do. I think that there's a lot of missed opportunity for understanding across the board. I mean, I just think that there's just a lot of that going on. I can understand why it definitely sets off flags and why men would just not be bothered with someone who would use that at all, use those kind of statements at all. I definitely get it. And when I talk to women and if we're in like if we're literally working together. So if it's a client of mine, and I hear that sort of thing, then we get real about what it's signaling. And oftentimes women aren't aware of how it's being received. Because they're saying it in, let's say, like good faith, like not trying to be antagonistic and not trying to send a passive aggressive message that it can be received as. Are some sending it, or some saying that to send that passive aggressive message? Yes, that's absolutely happening. And are some saying it with much more of like a more of a neutral stance? Yes, that's happening as well. And so I just encourage women to be aware of how it's being received. And I agree that it's like the way it's just like it's not necessary to really even like.
There's not a single positive good point for why you should say that in front of or in the presence of men that potentially want you or that you may want. It doesn't help. Basically, is what I'm saying. There's no positive benefit. He can see if you're independent. He can see if you take care of yourself, if you can manage your bills and can live on your own. He can already tell. You know, and so I think, you know, and what you said, that earlier part about like the ladies don't mean it in such a way. Well, most of them maybe don't. And my view is, ladies, in this scenario, you kind of have to weigh, is it so important to be able to just say that to prove and then be able to explain it away versus how the overwhelming majority of men are just going to take it at first listen. And I'm like, ladies are intentionally choosing to screw what men feel and how men will interpret it. This is what I'm going to say anyway. And it's up to guys to then figure out and decide what I meant from it. I'm going to tell you right now, only the men who don't have options or are desperate are even going to play that game. We really don't. We don't have to. I would never have to be in a position to where women that gives me any type of inkling or impression that I got options or I got all these other men or I don't need a man. These are all things I know you got from the internet and your girlfriends to let me know where your brain and your thought process is. So I'm already losing attraction just by her continuing to talk for me. So that's a big, and even in terms of emotional intelligence in 2026, I don't know how you have it. I don't know how. This is the equivalent of a man on the first date that says, you know, before he even takes you out, he was like, oh yeah, so you paying for this one, right? Sir, maybe she'd be open to it, but just the idea that you put that out there has already set the tone of how she's now going to see you, right? And I think that this is for a lot of men, that's our equivalent. The moment she starts saying certain things like that, a lot of guys, and the guys in the chat are kind of agreeing, like it's a real thing. And kind of close out this section, a particular note when it comes to like the independent mindset. You mentioned how the over-reliance on independence can make integration really difficult, integrating your life with somebody else's. The independent mindset, what we're really, really talking about is when independence becomes more of a personality trait and not simply not just a description of where you are currently, but it's more of a reflection of how you identify. You're damn near making this who you are. And I'm like, you're going to struggle with learning and knowing what to say and how to show men that you want them. That's what happens when you embrace this type of talk, these type of talking points, or even ideology. When you embrace this stuff too much, that's what's going to be communicated, and that's how it's going to be seen and like interpreted from men. So real quick, yo, I do see that we have over 200 plus people concurrently watching. So shout out to everybody that's currently watching. Please make sure that you like this. Please make sure that you subscribe to Ask a Brother podcast as well as Taylor Chandler. And make sure you guys follow her on Instagram as well, because she always is putting out good, real stuff that both sides of the aisle, both sexes need to hear for sure. Every so often when Taylor pops up on my feed, I got to get ready for some type of conviction. So she really be hitting it home for sure. Another thing, and I'm going to just throw it out there now, and everybody remember, at some point later over the course of the show, if you're genuinely interested, click on the links that we've been posting. The link is pinned at the top for anybody that's actually interested. And when I say anybody, I mean single ladies. If no single ladies click, I may open it up to women in general, women who are in relationships, women who are married, just to give their feedback of what they've also noticed as well. But let me check to see if we have any additional super chats that we already mentioned. Trey, and again, Trey, I appreciate you for the $5. Benny Akeen, yes, I did see this, and thank you in the Kobe and Shaq podcast. Appreciate you, good brother, man. My guy, Skinny, thank you, sir. I found Taylor on IG, sub to her YouTube. That's exactly it, man. We're trying to build quality support and showing love to the people who's doing the real work, both on the platforms and even off of it, for sure. And then Trey writes, thank you, Trey, for the $5 as well. I met a 61-year-old woman who off rip asked me to treat her to lunch way before we got a chance to get to know one another. Listen, we could park right there. Entitlement. Mm-hmm. I didn't have it in my notes, but it's real. It's real. Yeah. And Dr. Orion, who I had on recently, he talked about how the leverage of sex is not the leverage that sex had historically. Being a woman, you being the conduit in terms of me having access to sex, it doesn't have the same leverage today that it used to have even 30, 50, 60 years ago. Entitlement, in your vantage point, how does this show up and how would it impact, again, ladies' ability to be able to not be single anymore?
So I think entitlement and expectations can get conflated. So someone can have expectations or standards like of the relationship, but when there's a preconceived idea that you should have it without some kind of input yourself, like when I'm talking about investment, reciprocity, mutuality, men and women give differently in relationships, usually. Men and women give differently. And so, for example, men are most often going to be paying the bill in most cases, right? So when there's that expectation, but as a woman, you're not giving in the way that women give, okay, are expected to give in a relationship. Well, now it's turned to entitlement, and that's it's a simple way to sort of make that make sense. And so men are on high alert for entitled behavior.
Yep.
And are needing, and rightfully so, wanting and needing to see that there are inputs on the woman's side before he's just opening up his resources, which are material and intangible things. So money is a material or tangible thing, but the intangible things are like time, affection, space, energy, that kind of attention. Those are the intangibles. And so men are much more protective over those things and needing to see that there is the not just the intent to invest in the not just even a relationship, but even in the getting to know someone, needing to see that in action before just opening up his resources. And so when a woman is unaware or unwilling that she needs to take action on the give, then she's showing up as entitled, whether she knows it or not. And men, whether they're using that language or not, are let's say picking up on that. So whether you're calling it entitlement or you're just feeling it, the men can feel that dynamic. They can feel that energy, and are becoming more and more aware, even to the point of being, I dare say, paranoid. There's definitely some paranoia going on with some people, of being taken advantage of. And so again, it's a good idea to have guards around those things and to check for her investment. So again, when a woman is not in the action of giving into the relationship, but she is in the habit of expecting, you're entitled. That's just what it is.
Yes. And this is the crazy part, because most men I've known don't ever walk around with asking women directly, what do you bring to the table? They're thinking it. They're wondering, what is it? How is my life going to improve, or how my life is going to change with her being in it? And what you said about when she leads with the laundry list of what she expects and is looking for from you, and and her view of what you get is just her presence, that's already a problem. And it's a lot of ladies don't realize, I actually genuinely truly believe that solipsism is so crazy there's legitimately some ladies that really do show up relationally and have no idea that they're being entitled and selfish.
Yeah.
In their worldview, they've been taught what to expect. They've been taught what to expect. So in their frame of reference, that's like very, very normal. And I think that's also a reason for why there's so much clashing when it comes to women watching this type of content or watching the manosphere, and because they're hearing men be told, be on the lookout for women who don't want to bring anything, give anything, offer anything, be reciprocal. And if that sounds like her, this is going to sound like a threat. This is going to sound like an attack. I know one thing: women who already have the attitude to give they'll probably still get weirded out by the whole what do you bring to the table question. But the idea of them needing to bring something to the relationship wouldn't be foreign to them. That would be actually very natural. A lot of ladies right now that are selfish, a lot of y'all a lot of y'all that are single, is because y'all are selfish. That's actually the truth. You're romantically, emotionally selfish. And again, this doesn't bleed into just physical stuff. The same people who tend to be very selfish with things and acts of service are usually very selfish with their emotions as well. So she'll have no problem with wanting you to coddle and acknowledge her feelings, her emotions, her needs. Happy wife, happy life. And I'm going to play a clip with that. And then we're going to talk about how when you kind of function that way, the messages that you're sending is, I'm going to be miserable being with her. That's what this is going to mean. So I'm going to play this clip and then we're going to react to it. One sec.
Most demonic quotes I've ever heard: happy wife, happy life. Because if she's not happy, the whole house is in turmoil. Let me walk on eggshells. Don't want to upset her, because if I upset the wife, the whole house has to suffer. Stop giving place to the devil. You can't go around blaming people. Well, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Go get on the right side. Get back in. Roll over and try it again. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit. As I've said before, meek does not mean weak. It means strength under control. Quiet does not mean silent. It means peace and tranquility from within. Guess who has to do that? You.
All right. So she was preaching a sermon a little bit. Happy wife, happy life. What do you think about that? And is that also hurting women who are currently single but have that mindset?
Yeah, I think that it's a mindset that many women don't even realize that they have. Mindset is just this invisible thing that's just going on in the background all of the time. And so we see it through behaviors. And I think there are women who consciously would agree that happy spouse, happy house is a really good idea. But that unconscious, you know what I'm talking about, that unconscious is the thing that's really driving the behavior. And so someone can agree, can consciously know like what is the right answer to the test, but be behaving in a way that is different than that. That's confusing for everybody. Okay, that's confusing for everybody. So, and that's one of the reasons why she can, to the point of this whole conversation, be single and not understand why, because she might consciously have the right idea in mind, but her subconscious, her unconscious program is creating very different outcomes. So I definitely think that happy spouse, happy house is a better phrase. I think the word happy at this point needs to be broken down, and we need to have a conversation about.
We need a new word. We need a new word.
We need a new word. I would start the petition tonight, because at this point, happy needs to have a whole needs a PR campaign on the word happy. So I think happy spouse, happy house is getting at the right idea, right? Which is essentially mutual satisfaction, mutual fulfillment, like mutual care, mutual investment. It's about mutuality. Women have largely been programmed, conditioned, taught, not necessarily explicitly. A lot of this is implicit, implicitly, taught that your emotional state is the work of the man, which is what that woman, I can't remember her name. It's been a while since I've seen the woman that you popped on. I think she's literally a pastor's wife.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I can't remember her name though, but I used to see her a lot more often. I've been taught that like your emotional state is the work of the man. I think a lot of women don't.
Hold on.
Bruh.
You said they're being taught that the emotional work that's happening in a woman's head is the man's responsibility.
Their emotional state is the work of the man.
That makes sense. That makes sense. This is like, you don't make me happy. It's because of you that I reacted. Ooh, locus of control is completely outside of themselves.
Yeah,
like they're completely placing it at the feet of. This is what happens with dates. I'll show. I'm gonna take what you said and I'm gonna apply this to the early dating area. So, if a man asks you out on a date, right? You say yes. He picks the place. He picks the time. He makes the reservations or whatever. He's going to pay for it. What is it that women are expected to do or should be doing that will not make them come off as a woman that's like, he's supposed to make me happy. He's supposed to do everything. What do you think in that scenario, very, very early, women are doing that could communicate either of those things? Either that she's a happy wife, happy life woman, or she's a woman that's, fairly balanced and is willing to both receive and to give. Between me asking you out to us finishing our first date, what are the things that you think a woman's actions could do that places her in either of those buckets?
Yeah, so the communication before and after the date, if it's left solely up to the man, like he's got to do the check-in to make sure that we're still on, and he's got to follow up about how it went. Yeah. I think that's like a really simple, easy one, right? Where it's like, okay, he's got to reach out to me to follow up. He's got to reach out to me to check in to see how it went, rather than you initiating that conversation. I think it's the way you literally show up to the date. Be on time.
Oh, here we go. Like it's a consideration factor.
Yes.
You're thinking about somebody more than just yourself.
Yes. It's
Ladies,
being on time.
Be on time.
Yeah.
Be on time. Be responsive to the DMs or messages from the man that you've already agreed to take you out. Say thank you. Especially if it was a good dinner. Yeah,
the gratitude is a big one. And literally, like the way that you physically show up to the date, the effort that you put into getting ready, okay? Putting on real shoes, okay? Putting on the dress, okay? Putting on the heels, okay? Like the way that you literally show up, putting effort into that, showing up on time. If anything is running behind, and when you're running behind,
yes,
let him know about like any adjustments to the night, any plans that need to be that are changed, that you have the information before he does. Tell him with a sense of like a priority. It's a priority to give him the information he needs so that he can make this night run smoothly. When it's put on the man to be proactive and reactive. Like if any adjustments are made, he's got to perfectly seamlessly adjust, and he can't have it. He can't be mad. Don't let him be upset about it. And if he says something, he's sassy. Like see, right now we've definitely absolutely those kinds of things are signaling that we're dealing with an entitled attitude, entitled mindset, an entitled woman.
Absolutely. Like you're hitting it home. Like these are things that absolutely matter. And I don't know what, and again, it only makes sense that women wouldn't understand this if they have this particular type of mindset that you're talking about. If you're not even thinking about what men want, need, or even appreciate, you're going to be confused at why being a little bit late doesn't mean anything. or why do I have to respond? Or I can wait 6 hours. Or I can wait till the next day to reply to him. Ladies, the leverage that y'all thought y'all used to have, it does not exist anymore. As the gentleman mentioned, in terms of sex doesn't have the same power. Or when sex has been what's the best way? When sex has been reduced to a very normal thing that can happen in situationships, it doesn't require a ring, doesn't require meeting your family, doesn't require even knowing your name. For many of you, the leverage that I think the ladies are experiencing of a loss of that is resulting in a lot of these dating events. So I'm gonna play a clip. I think this happened in New York. Man, I'm starting to see this more and more and more. Dating event after dating event where singles are being asked to come, and it's almost all exclusively ladies showing up to these. Men are not showing up to this. I'm gonna say this. Yeah. Let me play.
Sitting here thinking about how I went to singles night at church, and it was hundreds. I mean, at least 1,000. First, I thought it was 500, but the pastor said it was 1,000 singles in attendance. Like, are we all living the same life at this point? Because I've never been in a room with that many single people, or even thought that it was even. I thought I was like the only one left. I mean, beautiful women, all types, shapes, and sizes. Literally African American women. Like a room full of singles. And I'm like, this has to be an experiment. Like this.
It's happening all over.
Yo, hold on. I've heard this so many times now about men that just not showing up to these things anymore. This is also a reason for why a lot of ladies are single. But what is happening in your mind for why so many men are not showing up to these events where people are literally paying to come and men are not meeting a lot of ladies that are showing up? Why?
You know, I think I wonder what you think about this. Like, I don't think that these events are very, like, they're kind of, it's almost like school. I don't know if I'm if I'm making too big of a reach, but like school is a public school system is really like catered to girls, like the way that girls learn, and the way that and teachers have a leaning towards favoring girls. And there's a difference when girls have certain behaviors compared to boys having certain behaviors. I don't know if I'm making too big of a reach here, but I think those events are really like it's a lot of feminine energy. The event itself is quite feminine, like
100%.
Women like that, women like that kind of thing. Women pay for that kind of thing. So I think that it's just not a like typical masculine experience. So men just aren't, even if men want to be in relationships with women, I don't think, now men have to tell me about this, because I don't think that men are inclined to go to an event like that to meet women. It just
no.
So that's just what I like.
No. Well, let's think. You're absolutely right. Now let's do this logically. How many ladies complain about men being in relationship with men, boyfriends or husbands, and how often they had to remind him about date night? So now you're taking men that are single and thinking that they're just intuitively going to be having these on their algorithms and researching the next single event. Like, that's not. And number three, and then number three, the rejection factor. I think that the people who set these type of things up clearly don't care about the fact that 9 times out of 10, when people sit down, it's usually the woman that's doing the quote unquote rejecting. Well, if you're a guy that's going to an event like this and there's 1,000 women there, if I'm hitting 50% and I talk to all the ladies in this room, you know how many times women done swipe past me in my face? It's bad enough when a DM is unread or read and not responded to. It's bad enough when you send a text message and it just keeps dragging on and never leads to an actual date. It's even worse to spend your time going in person to an event that probably wasn't created for you. Is I'm telling you, like, this is just not. Think of the activities most men typically would want to do. speed dating isn't one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to be at sporting events, right? They're going to be doing things that are typically more associated with men's hobbies. And now this is the thing that the men will get pissed off at me about. The smart women are going where the men are. They're not creating environments for men to come to. That doesn't even make like that doesn't add up.
There's
right?
even like, have you ever heard that like men prefer to do like side by side activities anyway?
Yes, versus face to face. Absolutely.
And then I also make a comment on and I don't want to make this personal. I try not to make personal, I don't want to make a personal thing about this woman because I don't know the woman but I will make a comment because she put it on the internet. So people like they open themselves up to comments about themselves. Nothing about her personally. But when I go in, when I just get on face value, on just face value of like, is it 1,000 women in there that look like this? Like, even if we were doing a masculine type, an event that was more catered to, curated for a masculine man, when I look at the type of nails, when I look at the tattoos, when I look at the eyelashes and the weave and all of that, and the mannerisms, now they had to tell me, but I don't think that, if I had to guess, I don't think that many men are saying like, that's my wife. That's my, like, is it, if there's 1,000 of her, maybe one of them is my wife. I don't think that it's giving that energy just on face value alone. So listen, I think that's a big thing.
You're not, first of all, this is why I know that you and Allison Armstrong are like the GOATs at this point of communicating what men are thinking as women, because that's legit, where it's like, let's do this as a thought experiment for everybody that's currently watching, especially ladies, and especially in our community, right? If a huge percentage of you are wearing the nails, the hairstyles, the fashion that's trending, that may be a little too risky or revealing, and the same group has the worst outcomes in terms of marital rates. Now, mind you, any man from any group around the planet can marry you. You're not, I mean, can ask you out on dates, can marry you, right? And your rates are still low. It's a huge chance that maybe the presentation needs to be reevaluated. And again, it goes beyond just the weight, right? For some cases, right?
Yes.
It's the overall presentation. And I've seen it on panels. I've heard it again and again. I've seen it on the street interviews. I'm going to be honest with you. Black men, Obsidian said it himself, Black men are the most progressive men in the world, especially in this country.
Yeah.
We functionally act like a matriarchy, especially in our community. A lot of us grew up without our dads. We're extremely lenient about a lot of things, but less and less men are willing to override what they're seeing with their own two eyeballs before they're going to give you a ring now. The days of, well, we had sex or we're pregnant now we're getting married. That's not, you're seeing more and more women just ending up as single moms. Right. So what's happening is basically what I'm saying is I think a lot of ladies just flat out are not listening. Let me take that back. They are listening, not to men. Let me take that back. They're not listening to heterosexual men that they like and that like them. They're listening to gay men. They're listening to their girlfriends. They're listening to social media. And again, just to clarify for everybody that isn't unaware, I've had 2 gay men in my wedding that I grew up with since high school. But if the gay men that you're surrounding yourself with as ladies are not helping you to see how heterosexual men are going to look at this situation, and if he's saying, go do you, boo, and all this other stuff, and he damn near acting like he part of the sisterhood, be careful with surrounding yourself with men that aren't telling you what most men would look at this situation. Because now you're in your head, well, he's a man and he's cool with it, but you don't like him and he don't like you, and neither y'all attracted to each other. The type of guy that's not attracted to you may not be helping you with looking at how heterosexual men, straight men would look at this. There's a very, very small pool of men, exactly what you said, that truly loves and is turned on by and cares about the bat nails, right? The crazy hairstyles, the purple hair, the nails to where you gotta use a tool to clean yourself. Like, they don't want all this stuff.
My goodness.
Yeah, they don't want all this. Men don't want all this. They don't want all this stuff. And you know, I'll play one more clip for you because I know you're going to have to run pretty soon. What you said about what men don't like and don't want to see and aren't attracted to and drawn to, it also looks like that on social media.
Yeah.
Ladies, we're at a place now where guys are disqualifying you before they've even texted or DM'd you. Before guys asked you out on a date, before a guy has told you that he has interest in you, your social media, what you're posting is already letting him know. And basically that is your CV. That is your resume. It's already telling me what you're quote unquote bringing to the table. Are you super, super led by external validation? What's trending? Doing all the crazy dances that's a little bit too risque or too revealing, wearing stuff that's a little too risque or too revealing, that can come back to bite you. And ladies, remember this: if you're watching, if you're following women that are rich, that are famous, that are good looking and older, and they also aren't getting the outcomes you're looking for, why do you keep following them? Why keep being influenced by them? You're wearing things that makes it clear. One, Dr. Orion from last week, he mentioned the women who are inundated with far too much male attention, whether it's just a regular woman who's wearing and revealing too much, or if she's on OnlyFans or is doing some type of sex work. When you're so used to that much level of validation, any guy worth his salt that doesn't want to deal with that, in his mind, you're just for play or you're disqualified. He can't see you. He cannot see you. He cannot see you and take you seriously. So this woman, she mentions it, and it was a very quick clip. Let me play this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go in 3 minutes.
Now, mind you, I wish I had took screenshots of the comments. The comments from some of the women. My God, my God. Ladies, I said it before and we'll say it again. If you plan on doing life with a man, you have to imagine what it is that man needs and would want. And if you don't get that, you're going to look at women like that as very strange. I'm going to now change how I present myself because I want to be a good reflection of him and not give the impression I'm still advertising. You sold me the car, but you keep putting a sign on my car saying it's still for sale. Then is it really my car? That's how a lot of you are treating the dating market. Again, as a man, when I was single, I had no problem with me dating multiple people or women dating multiple guys. But the moment I made it known what my intentions were with you, if you're presenting, dressing, posting things that gives the illusion that you're still looking for other suitors, that communicates to me all I need to know. All I need to know basically is that, well, clearly you're looking for something that I can't provide or I can't satisfy. Ladies, I promise y'all, if y'all don't think about this stuff, basically what I'm saying is if you're single and complaining about being single and you've never even reevaluated what you're posting on social media, that lets me know that you're not as serious as you need to be. Everything from, Taylor said it earlier, your image, what you speak, the way in which you carry yourself, the weight, and what you're posting, these are all things that are instantly making you not either dateable or not to be taken seriously in a guy's eyes.
I have to hop off.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Appreciate you for coming in. Make sure everybody make sure you reach out to her and follow her on Instagram and YouTube. Thanks for channeling this with me. I'm gonna handle the rest.
Thanks for having me, y'all. Bye.
All righty. So listen, y'all, absolutely super, super dope. And again, y'all, please make sure that you support Taylor as I now segue into the second half of this show. So guys, if you are currently watching, I see over 300 plus people are currently watching. This is now the opportunity, y'all. If you are genuinely interested and being able to hear some legit, real feedback, now is the time. I'm going to post in the chat. It's pinned at the top. If you are a single woman watching this, feel free to click on it if you see fit. Don't feel scared. I'm not looking to try to do any viral moments or make you feel embarrassed or anything like that. Just, click on the link. Make sure that you're dressed professionally as I continue to expound on going through this particular topic. But there's an elephant in the room that we have not appropriately, or we had not gotten to, and I'm going to bring it up now. Children. Nobody said it yet in terms of this conversation, but it needs to be said. The reason why a lot of you are going to be single or perpetually single is because of your judgment as it relates to children. But I'm not going to hit it just through the way in which you think. I'm going to hit it from multiple angles. The first of which is an attitude where you have a low priority or no priority of children during your normal bearing years. If you're in your 20s or early 30s and there's men that want to start a family, they're ready. And they get wind of women that, I don't know if I want kids, or I think I'll try to start have kids at like 38, 40. She's cooked. It's over. Kids. If kids is not on the table for you, that's fine. If kids are on the table for you, that's fine as well. But you have to realize that that attitude and your decision in that area is going to impact the quality and the amount of men that are going to be able to date you or want to date you. Case in point, if you're the type that has functionally decided, I don't want any kids. A lot of men that want kids and you're not able to provide it or not willing to, you're no longer a candidate for those men, and those men are no longer a candidate for you. That's fine. That's going to make way more sense as a mentality in terms of quote unquote options, not in your 20s and 30s, but probably when you're older. Number two, if you already have children, this can impact your situation. Why? Because there's men that want to start their own families. Maybe they don't want to deal with, splitting their time and decisions pertaining to not only you and other kids, but also another man or another household and what they got planned, right? Case number three, you have children but he can't ever discipline or challenge anything as it relates to your kids. Gotta go. These are all red flags, ladies. So, case in point, I'll even say something that a lot of guys haven't said out loud. And people in the chat, you can let me know if y'all agree with me or disagree with me. Think about it logically. If you've had 2 or even 3 baby dads, fathers, if you will, and you have all your children in your life, that inability to be able to maintain compatibility and a healthy connection with any of the father of your children is a red flag. Because what happens if you and I have a child? Are you going to functionally move and act the same way that led to you leaving those men? You're going to do that to me with my child? Because if he's trustworthy enough to have a child with, but not trustworthy enough to raise that child with in the same home, but you are doing that repeatedly, who's boo-boo the fool for assuming I'm going to be the 3rd or 4th guy on the list, and this time she's going to stick around for me? So we're going to watch a couple clips, man. And like I said before, I love just doing long monologues personally. I'm not a super big fan of call-ins because I don't always know who's going to call in. But ladies, if you're single and you're open, feel free to click on the link. The link is pinned at the top. We've posted it a few times in the chat. You're absolutely more than welcome. I'm going to continue to proceed with this, and we're going to see how it goes. But in the next 5 to 10 minutes, if I don't see anybody who I think would be a good, based on the people I'm currently looking at in the thing, I don't know if I'm going to want some of these people up in here. But seriously, if you're open to it and you want God to honest feedback from my lens, I will be more than happy to give it to you and hear your honest story. Remember, now, key rule is if you call in, you are not to mention names of anybody from in your life or from your past. No names. You can describe your life, your relationship history and track record, but you do not mention personal names. That's a no-no. All right, y'all. So want when I said about children, we're going to watch a couple different clips, and then you're going to see the different ways of how I'm trying to tackle this to kind of make it known how this is being shown and communicated to the opposite sex. So first off, and shout out to Sarah Fontenot. She recently got married, so congratulations to her and her husband. She kind of covers this. Look at listen to the other woman that she was talking to, and then listen to Sarah and realize that the mindset of these two ladies initially often is what we're seeing in the dating market.
Women are not having children because they just want to be a mom. Most women are using sex to get love, and all they get is a baby. And now they're left with nothing but resentment and struggle and a lower perceived value. Whether or not it's the patriarchy or not, that's life. It's I'm black, that's life.
It's just unrealistic expectations then on women to be those two things.
But I think the unrealistic part that you just said, the majority of children are accidents. They are not intentional.
Okay.
The majority of children, I slept with this man, I like this man, we raw dog this.
Accidents is a crazy take.
It's true. How many people are planning their dream?
You're right, unplanned. Accidents is crazy.
I mean,
Maybe
it's the truth.
unplanned.
No, it was an accident. I did not mean for that to happen. An accident you don't mean to happen.
And it did.
And it did.
But it can't be an accident when you have the choice to nip it in the bud.
No, it is an accident because maybe you don't have the money to make the choice.
Valid.
Maybe you don't have the privilege to make the choice. Maybe you live in a state and you can't get to the state over to make the choice. There's so many things of why you can't. So let's say we did this thing that I did not plan on. It was an accident, whatever, unplanned, however you want to word it, doesn't matter.
I will say if we speak to high value,
yes,
or high, let's take a high value. Let's do high earning.
Okay, which also
if you
could
think
be
of
hella low value, by the way.
High earning women,
yes,
that I know in my space, could give a f about whether their child even has a dad because they want to be a mom.
They're probably older.
And they're older. They're in their 30s because there's a ticking time. Again, scientifically, if you have the money to go through IVF, I have two friends that just went through IVF. Expensive.
Yeah, it is. So like 30 grand.
So they're on a time constraint, or then you have to pay for a surrogate, or so to me, this idea of and going back to a woman who's 50 with two kids, even one baby daddy, this idea that she didn't want to or isn't wife material, I think that's the rhetoric I wish we as women would stop putting out there, because that is the thing too, in terms of the Kevin Samuels and people who have sat here and talked about a woman being high value or losing value or being less worthy. This idea that we as women project that, knowing what our bodies intake or go through, knowing women that are dope ass women. I just hate that we are pushing that narrative that, well, maybe they're not the material to be chosen by one of these bum ass.
Cousins have kids. My little sister doesn't have any kids, but she'll probably have kids before me. I'm 25, but I don't think I'll have kids until I'm probably like 40.
Great. However, I think we have to have an honest conversation. Life is about choices. And if the fear is that I'm going to lose this part of me, you have to be ready for that. You have to be willing to do that and be okay with it when it happens. Because if not, you will resent the decision that you've made. We were married for 7 years before we had the kids, and I went back to graduate school. We traveled, we did all these things. We didn't have children until that was the thing that we wanted more than anything else. That way, when the kids came, then when I couldn't go out with friends or we couldn't do other things, I made this decision. We made this decision. The sleepless nights and everything, this is what we wanted. So I think women need to be intentional about the choice, because if you are not, sometimes life will make that choice for you. And if you think you can just kick the can and one day I'll be ready, you may not have that option. So I would just say, yes, you will lose part of your identity, and you have to be okay with that. And we need to say that.
Thanks to all the ladies that covered that. And as you saw, there's a variety of different issues that's going on when it comes to children, the desire for children, the lack of desire for children, already having children. All of these are factors that can impact your prospects. Yes, pretty privilege can still get you in the door when it comes to some men. Your weight and your body shape can still get you in the door with some men. But it can also put you in precarious positions. It can put you in a spot where you now have to choose from a much more limited pool of options of men that are even interested in doing that. And you got to already know, and you already know, that all the men that want to sign up to take care of another man's children all those men don't have the right intentions. Some of these men that are approaching you know and believe, or at least assume, that you're coming from a place of desperation. That's what it is. They know you don't have the same options you wouldn't have that you would have if you didn't have 2, 3, 4 kids. They know it. They know it. And they know some of you will tolerate and accept far more than you would if you were just free and the clear single. Shout out to Miss Maggie, the substitute, where she mentioned the mentality of the women that do want children, the sacrificial nature of it. If a man wants to have a family and he wants to take care and provide for you and a family, and she's like, I'm not interested in children. Cool. That's your choice. We're not compatible. But if you're trying to convince a woman to have children that really don't, I won't be shocked at how that selfishness may manifest in regards to the rest of our relationship dynamic. It's totally cool to want a life where it can't be interrupted by kids. Ladies, if you keep giving children when you don't want children to men, or if you keep having children with men that aren't willing to marry you, all you're doing is reducing the pool of men that will take you seriously and will want you more than just your body. For a lot of y'all ladies, your singleness is rooted in literally what's around you. A lack of discipline, children by men who you're not in a relationship with. And if you don't learn very quickly, this is the pattern, this is the issue, this can legitimately kind of come back to quote unquote bite you. It can bite you. And don't say that society, don't say that men, don't say that your brothers, don't say your uncles, or don't say nobody told you that it's going to get harder, not easier, the older you get. You all know it. You know it's the truth. Your standards don't go down, they go up over time. As you accumulate more resources, as your quality of life improves, your expectations on the men that can meet or exceed that, it's going up, which means there's less men that's at the top. Your greatest forms of leverage is your body, your femininity, your softness, your acts of service, the way in which you try to show that you are an asset, not simply a liability, and the way in which you make him feel. Those are your forms of leverage. Sex is no longer a form of leverage for many men, especially men who have options. A lot of you ladies are bringing children to the dynamic. You're bringing weight to the dynamic. You're bringing bad attitudes and a whole host of things that you don't want to change about yourself. These are all things that are flatly put, making you very incompatible with most men that actually have legitimate standards. So it's time to wake up, yeah. So listen, y'all, I'm going to give it about another 10 minutes or so before I finally make a decision, if I'm even going to do some of the call-ins. So ladies, this is the time now. Go ahead and click if you feel free to kind of call in. And I have 1 or 2 more clips to kind of cover before I wrap things up. This is going to be a good one. We got to separate. Are you giving off side chick energy or wifely energy? Side chick energy or wifely energy, ladies? The way you move, the way you carry yourself, what you expect is communicating whether or not you're for a good time or a long time, whether or not you're a wife or a sojourn, whether or not I'm going to see you on Valentine's Day or the day before or day after. There are things that you're doing. There's things that you're displaying that gives that off. Once we watch this clip, I'm going to tell you what some of those things are. And hopefully this is mind-blowing and shattering so that a lot of y'all can kind of reevaluate a lot of what it is that you're kind of posting, sharing, doing that's giving side chick energy, that's giving have fun on the side energy, but not somebody I can do life with and build with energy. Let's pay attention to this.
Just a basketball player. Just because I feel like the quality of life depends on money. at the end of the day, a lot of it depends on money, right? So even if I'm sad, if I got some money, I know I can do some things to boost my, however I'm feeling. I can produce some things, I can invest in some things, and I don't have to carry out all the responsibilities of that wife. She got to deal with him when he mad, when he having a bad day, if he lost that game, his temper, whatever it is. She got to deal with all the stuff that come with him. Whereas I'm the side chick, I'm getting the benefits. We may have, a little something going on here and there, but I'm getting the benefits and I can still have my freedom to do what I want to do outside of getting that money.
So you would be a side chick to a ball player rather than be an average man's one and only. So what's wrong with the average man?
It's not that nothing is wrong with him, but I just know that in order to sustain what I like to do and the type of life that I want to live,
you can get a job. Drop a bomb. Because what I feel like, if you want to live a life that you want to live, you can go get the job to purchase that big.
Shout out to Ugly Buddy Niche, man. We're going to have her more pretty soon. Maybe even possibly this month. That would be pretty hilarious, man. And shout out to everybody who's currently watching and loving and supporting this particular brand and topic or whatever, man. Dinero 9865, thank you for becoming a member, man. And you're right, man. That $100 era, the amount of money we got to spend for these haircuts, you better be on time. Thank you, bro, for joining. Who is that? Mac Main ATL again. Thank you again for the $5. This woman doesn't want to be a wife, and no, she's not the only one. Men know these events are like showing up to used car lot on paydays. Yeah, man. It's I'm not going there. I'm not going to a church. I would not go into a church to find a woman. I'm not going to these single events to find a woman. Absolutely not. There's so many reasons for men's mentality for why it is that we avoid those type of spots. Appreciate you, bro, for the $5. Mauricio 91 $4.99. Thank you, sir, for that. It's only speed dating because the women are in the danger zone. R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. Yeah, man. It is a rush. It is a rush. Absolutely. And I know it's bad when women have to start paying to come to things in order to get a chance to potentially connect with a man. We are in desperate times, ladies and gentlemen. MacMan ATL again. Appreciate, brother. Bro, you could put me a couple 5, 10, 15. Okay, brother. Appreciate you, bro. Because their gay friend are trying to secretly holler at the same men that the straight girls want. Why would the gay friend give good tips? I'm not somebody that puts all gay people or gay men in a monolith. I think that there's definitely gay people who have, just like I don't assume that every person who's straight gives really great advice. That doesn't mean every person that's gay is going to give advice that is bad or problematic. But I do appreciate you, sir, for the $5 for sure. Logan INV, thank you for the $13.99. Jeff, this children combo just gave me PSD from the two-night combo foolishness where they jumped that dude for asking tonight's conversation. Where they jumped that dude for asking a legit question as if he was trying to get single mothers deported or something. Yeah, man, I wish I had that clip up where the brother basically asked, why is it that men that have a standard of not wanting to date single mothers, why is it that they're demonized for that when women can say that they don't want to, be with a man who has children, or they have children themselves and say they don't want to deal with somebody who has children, and that's just seen as accepted. It is what it is, man. It's one of those strange, weird things. And when we get back to this whole, the side chick versus wifely chick energy, so much of what's a cue is when the way in which you talk can definitely expose, at least in our men's worldview, it can actually just flat out let us know where your head is. If you're not about building, if you're not about planning together, if it's strictly like transactional, if it's strictly about what you can get from me, women who don't talk about future, women who only talk about the present, that's already a red flag. It's already a red flag to us because you're focused so much just on the immediate things that you can get in the moment. I start to see this as more of a transactional thing than a relational one. Side chick energy. A one-off, one-night stand type situation. Women who have intentions for the long term in the future, they're going to very, very early, not in a very forceful way, but they're going to make it known. So Jeff, what's your vision in terms of like if you're in a relationship and you two are dating and like actually, in a relationship, how long do you have to date before you know that you're ready to propose or get married? Oh, okay. Totally different category. A woman who never brings it up. A woman who never brings up future. It's always about immediate stuff that she wants in the moment. You're giving side chick energy. You're giving just transactional loan energy. You're giving off something that's letting us know you're here for a good time, not a long time. Side chick energy. If every time I text you, you only text me late at night, in my head, either I'm not a huge priority to you or you got another man or situation going on. Side chick energy. If it take you 2-3 days to respond to me, either no, get none of my time or attention, or side chick energy. One night stand energy. I'm not going to take you seriously. A lack of intention of focusing on what it is that men want is going to bite you in the butt if it already hasn't. The days of listening to feminists, and we're actually going to get to this, and I'm actually going to cover this now because for me, I personally just want to go through really, really in-depth understanding of what this stuff looks like so that you ladies can really, really get this and understand it. And the men are just going to confirm this stuff that I'm telling you. Feminist propaganda that's man-hating. Examples. That's man-hating or trying to convince you that men's needs, views, and perspectives are either inherently misogynistic or women hating. Whatever it is that they're conditioning to you to, just listen to this stuff. Feminist propaganda that's either man-hating or disregarding men's perspectives in mass in general. Body count doesn't matter. Past choices and behavior don't matter. Lopsided boundary standards and demands where you get to demand and expect everything you want from your end, and he should just be grateful to be in your presence and have you in his life. That's feminist foolishness. That's femme-centered foolishness. That's not a relational. That's not relation. None of this is helpful. Okay? I'm gonna say it again. I'm not conditional femininity. What the hell is that? Well, when he causes me, you better stop. Y'all better listen to the stuff that y'all repeating over and over from people who hate men and don't like men. No man has to make you soft. The condition that you should be placing on a man that's coming or trying to enter into your life in terms of conditions can be to who you will submit to, not whether or not you'll be feminine, not whether or not you'll be soft. Are you crazy? He's got to no, that should be who you are. Everybody, can you imagine a man running around and saying this nonsense? She has to make me more masculine. Stop it. Either you are or you aren't. There are things that are being said that y'all are repeating that's making you not only annoying, less attractive, but being placed absolutely in the category of stay away from her. Maybe she could be a baby mom, maybe a side John, maybe for fun. Anything that I just listed, if you talk that way, I know one category I cannot place you in. If you're running around telling me that all your past decisions and moves and how you were moving and carrying yourself and getting trains ran on you and all this other crazy stuff don't matter, why would I see you as a wife? Are you crazy? This is feminist propaganda at its worst. We're gonna get to listen, man. I told you now that Taylor's here, I can get in a little bit more deeper in the weeds. We mentioned it earlier. Social circles and negative influences. We alluded to it early on, and Miss Maggie, shout out to Miss Maggie again, when she talked about how the quality of your friends matter. If I see you consistently sharing posts of Cardi B, dressed half naked, celebrating debauchery, foolishness, degradation, depravity, outright ratchetness, classlessness in other women. If I see you sharing this stuff, celebrating it, you're in the same category to me as the women that you're propping up and celebrating. So yeah, ladies, when a lot of men was speaking out and saying stuff about like That's not a good move with how Cardi's moving. If she want to leave the man that's cheating on her, all the more power to her. But getting pregnant while you still married and getting pregnant to a guy like Stephon Diggs who's getting other women pregnant, that's messy. That's toxic. You don't bring a child into that type of environment. And y'all saying congratulations? Nah. Listen, if you in the chat, please let them know if you think I'm crazy, fellas. Ladies, if you're married, can you comment? Ladies, if you're married, can you comment? Am I lying? Because if you're celebrating, saying congratulations, Cardi, then you saying this stuff is fine. You're not even being neutral and just watching silently. You're saying this is cool and should be celebrated. Now we see where your head is. And if you're willing to celebrate something like that, you're the type to comment when women leave relationships for a whole host of reasons that you don't know. Go get the bag, sis. Go get the bags. It don't matter if he's going to end up living in his car. No matter if it's going to impact his ability to see his kids. Or if he's going to end up in jail if he goes through a period of time where he literally can't afford something. You don't care. We're telling you ladies right now, the divorce parties, the way y'all social medias are curated, all the people that you're following, sending, I'm telling you. Somebody just commented, I don't know why somebody put that on show. The night, where's it at? If his comment pops up on my StreamYard, I'm going to make sure to share it. Where he mentioned something about the fact that if we see 427 selfies, gone. So listen, ladies, there are men that's turned on to twerking. Not a lot of men that want wives. There's a lot of men that be turned on to you showing your boobs. Not a lot of men that want women that they feel they're respected by and don't want outside attention and validation. There is a uniform for escorts and strippers. And a lot of y'all are matching. Am I lying? These are some of the reasons for why a lot of you ladies are currently still single. You want the perks of being in a relationship and the perks of the status of being married and wifed up. But you don't want to reevaluate or look at any of the things you've done or are currently still doing. Imagine a man who's a loser who gets no attention from women saying all the problems in the dating market is just the women. Bro, maybe you should start with brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, dressing differently, taking care of your diet and body. Maybe, making a little bit more money. Well, I ain't got to do all that. Then you really don't like women. You're not interested in women then. So as women, think of this, ladies, and I'm going to help y'all out because I know for whatever reason, this is going to be tough. And again, for my admins, the ladies in the building, if y'all want to click on the chat now, especially the married ones, if y'all want to tune in so we can kind of jump on and have this little conversation. And I'm going to see if I could ask even married women right now, Miss Couture or all the ladies in the chat, if you're married, click on the chat. Click on the link. I'm going to ask you if I'm talking crazy. I'm telling y'all right now, man, a lot of dudes are not going to tell you this stuff. The man that can't get access to women is seen as a loser amongst men. The woman that can't get men to want her beyond her body and for sex is seen relationally as his equivalent. The man that can't give women what they want and is unable to be what women are looking for is seen and viewed as a loser. Your job as a woman is not to get every man in the world to want to sleep with you. That's the easy part. If you can't get past that, if you can't get the ring, if you can't get your name changed if you want to change, if you can't get, you don't try a test for all 18, your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and then say, oh, I don't even really want it at all. No, you are a relational failure. Dr. Cheyenne Bryan is saying more women are delusional today than even the men. More women are showing up to these events than even men are. 1,000 women showing up, nearly no men are showing up. ladies have been convinced that in modernity, because of education, because of their degrees, because of their now new salaries and career aspirations and goals that they're hitting, that now their standards are going up. Yeah. So too is men's. That's why less of you can keep and stay in a long-term, legitimate relationship to where you're proud enough for people to actually know that you're in one beyond just showing his hands and pictures and videos. I see the chat's going crazy right now. So listen, I'm gonna click on some of this stuff. So listen, if y'all think that this stuff is helpful, if it matters, shout out to you, Chase and Grace. For sure. I'm just saying, y'all, that this is a real thing. Your dads were supposed to say it. Your uncles were supposed to say it. Your brothers were supposed to say it, or any of these men were supposed to be allowed to say it. A lot of you, for the longest, you are in the position you've been in because men that needed to be able to speak, you didn't allow them to, or you didn't listen. Oh, you're not hard-headed. We saw who you were listening to, not men and women that cared about your future prospects, your future outcomes. If you are a woman in America and single for long, lengthy periods of time, you not being single is either not a priority or you don't know what you're doing with men. All you know is how to get some resources every now and then, and how to let them smash. And some of you know how to end up sleeping with them long enough to get a child out of it. That's about it. You don't know how to be a wife. Most people that's in your algorithm, most people you're listening to, a lot of these people that's on these panels and sitting on top of these stages, you don't even know what their relationship status is. You don't know what their relationship history is. And you're letting them speak over your ability to find a lifelong partner. And it's the manosphere that's causing this great divide and contributing to the gender war. Listen, y'all. Some of y'all better remove some of them damn tattoos. Kevin said if you want to make it in the corporate realm, all of you as men that have certain hairstyles is going to make it harder for yourself. That's all. And that the clean cut is probably going to get you through certain doors that locks or braids may not. It's a fact. As a man who grew my locks for 9 years before I finally cut them off and you know, presented myself out here to you all, I had locks that went all the way down to my tailbone. I was still able to navigate. But the moment I cut them, people who I looked up to professionally confirmed what Kevin said. It's the truth. It's the truth. And shout out to Mac Main for ATL, member for 2 months. Stop doing one night stands, fellas. Listen, I'm in the camp that there are legitimately men and women where marriage is not an option. Long-term commitment is not an option. I'm just in the camp that if people are fully accepting and fully transparent and clear about what that is and looks like, and they accept the consequences or choices and risks that comes with that, that's all it is. They're grown adults. So that's, you know, that's kind of how I personally feel about it. For sure. So let me just look at a couple of these extra. So, a couple more super chats came in. Mac Main again, bro. Because we already mentioned that. We mentioned this one. Mauricio, what do we do when we're related to these women? I'm gonna tell you as a man who is related to some of these women. You give the advice if they're interested, and you love them from a distance if they're very difficult to love. That's the truth. And this is the hard thing, and Taylor did kind of allude to it when we talking about weight, when we talking about dress, when we talking about how bad these wigs look. Ladies, I'm going to say this, and this is going to be rough for a lot of y'all to hear. This new heavy makeup trend, y'all look like men that's transitioning into women. I don't know where y'all got this advice from about y'all makeup and y'all hairstyles, that y'all are looking and mimicking men that are trying to look like women. It's bad. Less makeup, less hair that's not yours. Y'all look up on the internet to research how to do cooking recipes, how to decorate your home, but you can't look up something to figure out how to style your hair more naturally. That's the excuse. Again, black men specifically, we're more progressive than anybody else. So we'll even live with it every now and then, little piece and little clip-ins, little extensions every now and then. Don't put no damn extensions to your damn butt. What's wrong with you? So yeah, man, this is a tough one because, you know, I know a lot of men where this is the case, where they kind of just let women just fall in their face, and it's unfortunate that the lesson has to be learned after they have a child with the wrong man. The lesson has to be learned after they have sex with the wrong man. The lesson has to be learned continuously after the 4, 5, or 8 different guys that punch holes in the wall. But if you've ever said it and offered it, and they didn't receive it, you can live with a good conscience. To me, and that's for me. I live by that. If I had the ability to speak something, if I had the ability to say something, and I chose to and did, and live with the consequences, whether that created distance between us or not, I can sleep at night knowing that I did that out of love. I think the most important thing, if we're going to try to be more honest with ladies, is say it in love, but be prepared for the relationship to be different until they wake up and realize you may have been onto something. If you don't want the relationship to be at risk in any way, shape, or form, don't tell them the truth. Just let them live their life. That's the honest truth. That's it. Oh, DeAndre Stewart looks like. Yeah, DeAndre Stewart, appreciate you, brother, for the $4.99. Thank you for showing the love and support. And Mac May again with the $10. Degrees, they are now being invalidated and masked by AI. So these layoffs decimate their material basis, self-esteem. They will remember how to be feminine, but winter is coming. Ladies, yes or no? Taylor actually mentioned this on one of her lives that, yes, it's true, winter is coming and a lot of women are going to wake up, but a lot of women are not. And it's because there's always going to be a market of men that are going to subsidize some of these ladies' lifestyles. It's just the reality of it. And if they get more desperate, the ladies will, like you said, are going to turn on what they need to be able to get what they need and want from men. This doesn't mean all these women are going to jump up into running to trying to be wives again or wanting to be married. Some of them just may become more desperate as it relates to trying to get with anything that they can from men. Some ladies are going to sign up to be wife number 2. Some ladies are going to sign up to be a designated side joint if they aren't already. Some ladies are going to be part-time. You know, I'm telling you, this is what it's going to be. They're going to be sharing men. Or they're going to be buying a doll. Or they're going to be getting with women. Or they're going to be in rotations of different people every other season. That's all on the table. So listen, man, I hope that this was helpful. There's so many more notes and things that I want to cover, man. I've had so many other notes, and it's like I hate the fact that I'm so over prepared when it comes to these type of things, man. And then in the end, I never ever get to even half of the notes that I have. But I hope that this was helpful, man. There's just so many things that I had on the list. I'm just trying to see if there's any really, really catchy big ones that I think could be also very helpful. Oh, some ones that are lesser known that are actually very understandable. Emotional self-sufficiency reduces the need for romantic urgency. Modern women are, you know, emotionally, financially, and socially more self-sufficient than perhaps they've ever been, especially if they haven't lost their job in the last 12 to 14 months, right? When you're so self-sufficient, one of the issues is that something that should be seen as a priority is now not as urgent, like finding a compatible partner for long-term or man or husband for long-term commitment. So when that lowers the urgency and lowers the priority because all these other things are checked off, what it does is something that can be both helpful but yet harmful. It can lower your tolerance for men's imperfections, which simultaneously shrinks the dating pool of options for you. When you have so much of what you need, little imperfections now are seen as red flags and treated as justifiable reasons to dismiss men straight off the rip. Height, hairline not being exactly right. He didn't respond as quickly as you would have liked him to. This little inconveniences. Now I'm done. What's happening now is because so many of your needs are met, you're now looking for damn near perfection. A lot of women who have their emotional, financial, and or social needs met are now looking for a man that's better than all of that. Yeah, man. High emotional intelligence can also equal high relational standards, right? Y'all do so much therapy and do so much work to try to understand and see things from multiple lenses. Again, it can lead to early exits, but it can also unfortunately lead to you having less patience. Every little discrepancy, every little subtle emotional interruption or act of immaturity, even little things that you're seeing, you're now coming up with scripts of what's happening and who the man is before you. Don't listen. You know what? I'm gonna get to the therapy speak. A lot of y'all go to therapy so much to where you're now overusing therapy speak, which is replacing actual real emotional connection. Overusing the word boundaries and triggers and everything's a trauma and emotional labor. Ma'am, are you going to be a good wife or not? Do you even know what that looks like and means? Are you just going to sound like a psychologist in the bedroom? Everything is not a trigger. Every time you're told no about something or that they disagree with you, it's not about somebody disrespecting your boundaries. What are we talking about? Some of y'all are turning dating and dates into clinical assessments. We're covering so many different things because there's so many different things that are problematic that's impacting your ability to be able to connect with another human being that's not a female. And last but not least, and of course there's many more things on the list, he's not one of your girlfriends. And men are not your girlfriend. Men can watch Bridgerton. Me and my wife just finished watching this season of Bridgerton. And might I add, it was an excellent episode. So shout out to the actors and to Sean. Listen, this woman, Sean, I'll tell you, man, she is killing it with the shows and the things and stuff that she puts out. And Bridgerton was dope this season. But not every hobby, not every interest, not everything that you're interested in is what most men may be interested in. And there's nothing wrong with that. He has to have interest in some of those things. A lot of you are trying to turn these men into your girlfriends and wondering why you feel so disconnected from these guys because they were never meant to be. You're going to have some common interests. You're going to have some different interests. How you dress, what you wear, who you listen to, who you're influenced by, how you carry yourself, whether or not you're feminine or aggressive. Whether you've been prioritizing children, do you have children? Do you want children? Your weight, social media. Every woman that's famous and an influencer that does not have the relationship that you want, unfollow them. Rechange your algorithm. Click on people that say things you don't want to hear that you know you need to hear more often, and watch yourself start to change. Unlike a lot of people in this space, I've actually worked with a decent amount of couples, including therapists who were the wives, who were therapists, who worked in mental health, in helping them to figure out a lot of these issues with their own husbands. For a lot of ladies in this space, man, I learned being as a therapist for the last 12 years. A lot of them hadn't heard these things until they met with me, or they weren't willing to listen to them until they sat down in a therapy session with me. And I would say things like, this is how you were all along. You were like this when he was trying to date you and court you? And I would say, man, you a better man than me. First or second time, I would never reached out to her again. And you married her and gave her children? Now she's starting to realize how she's actually looking. Y'all are confusing what you're seeing on social media that you're posting with how you're showing up and looking romantically and relationally. That curated version, that filtered version of you on social media, the men that actually get to know you know and see a totally different version. Can your internal beauty match the external beauty you're trying to display before the whole world? Are you willing to be romantically curious in the opposite sex? Are you still only willing to listen to effeminate men, panderers, broken, unhealed women, and men that don't know and understand what heterosexual men actually want? These are all reasons why you could potentially still be single. You need an actual assessment. You need to sit down with a life coach. You need to sit down with a dating coach. You need to sit down with a trained professional that has a background in working with couples, and all of them not leading towards breakups and divorces, by the way. By the way, I meant to mention, I got about over 90% approval rating in terms of my couples that I meet with. I don't meet with them very often, but when I do, over 90% success rate, despite popular belief. I'm not saying come to me. You got Taylor, you got Miss Maggie, and again, I don't know for everybody that's watched this channel and this platform, I've intentionally brought in many of the types of people that I think we could learn something from. Men and women, a lot of them, professionals. So despite how entertaining or funny or messy I may be, I've been creating a one-stop shop for you to connect yourself with people who know what they're doing and have been working and doing this stuff for years. So if you're serious about wanting to not be single anymore as a lady, look into reaching out to these experts, femininity coaches. Reach out to them. Invest in that. Instead of investing in the lashes and investing in the long hair and the packs of hair and all of this stuff, how about spend more of that money on doing deep introspection of your soul and your character and your habits and your behavior than the new trend of Ozempic and BBLs and long extensions that don't look like your hair? How about invest the money into that stuff? Just a suggestion. Undoubtedly, I know I'll be called sexist and a whole host of other things, but I think for those who understand and realize that what I showed earlier, 1,000, hundreds of women showing up to events and there's no men in sight. Maybe you all don't realize the urgency today. But 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, what if a lot of the things I'm talking about today that a lot of your famous influencers are not talking about is going to come back to bite you? I don't know, man. If men aren't attending dating events, if women are complaining that men aren't romantic anymore and that men aren't wanting to do it, my friend is afraid to call in. She asked, what's the best way to meet men? One, tell your homegirl to click on the damn link and come in before I close this out real quick. That's funny. I wonder who it is. I already got my hair wrapped. Like I said, man, there's a place for protective styles. There's a time and a place for all of this stuff. Whether it's just general men or women or white, black, Hispanic, Asian, etc., there's a market for everything. Your job as a woman is to put yourself in a position where the type of market and caliber of men that you want, you are in a legitimate, attractive option. A lot of y'all don't even know where to find these men. I'll be honest with you. More and more men are looking over elsewhere. They're looking outside of their races. They're looking outside of their general vicinities. They're looking outside of the country. So before you get to a place to where it's you and your girlfriend's doing a Valentine's Day every year and falling in love with y'all rose tools, y'all got to realize, man, that it takes more than just what you want to make this thing work. I see the Knight and the Bishop says they used to mock the manosphere red pill a decade ago. Isn't so funny now, is it, ladies? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's gonna be a thing when the women who laughed and cheered like them punk, you know what's on that video the other week, them punks about Kevin Samuels dying and hopefully his legacy and all his messages die with him. Did that change y'all relationship status? Did calling every man that speak on this topic that doesn't say it with flattering language and sounds so great, like, are you serious? Y'all were used, man. Y'all been propagandized to, and people made a whole lot of money off of y'all not being in a relationship with men. See, dating is where you let women record you eating dinner so that she can post it at this point. Excellent comment, man. Because that's the crazy part is, and lastly, ladies, man, y'all gotta, bro. There's men that just love the attention of just getting female attention, and there's men that's actually trying to be intentional in dating. And if you keep whipping that phone out just to show his hands in the dinner you got, and not the man that's taking you out to it, he's gonna think you see him as a trick. Quiet as kept. If you always showing his hands and nothing else, in his mind, he's starting to wonder if you see him as a trick. You show your daily routine. You show your before and afters. You show your hairstyles. You show what you look like before and after makeup. You show everything else but him. Why she hiding me? What's she worried about? I'm not saying I want my business always out there, but never. Unless he's instructed you to do that. Maybe she got me on a rotation. Maybe she don't want to ruin this situation for the other guys that's still on her respective roster. Most men haven't heard this message. Trying to read this, see what else we got. Oh my God, yo. Some of these comments are crazy. I can't even share some of these comments. Oh, I see admins got to remove some of it. Oh my God, they've had to remove some of this stuff. What's wrong with some of y'all, man? Mainstream media swears it's men that's just men facing a loneliness epidemic, but hundreds of women showing up to events and complaining about not being approached anymore. Yeah, absolutely. And I see Chasing Grace agree to it as well. What's his name from We Need to Talk? I remember he mentioned this before. There's a lot of ladies that's lonely and that they just have better marketing. They just have better marketing and packaging to where it doesn't come off that they are lonely as well and that they don't need men. But if you got to spend a lot, if you got to travel a lot, if you got to do so much to compensate for that void, it's not that you don't have those feelings. You just figured out other ways to cope with them. That's the difference. You can keep spending all the money and keep going on all these trips that you can't afford and doing all these different things. You can keep listening to Derek Jackson if he even still put out stuff like this point. Or you can acknowledge, man, listen, man, I think I need the boot camp. I think I need to hear something radically different to, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Sleeping with the same men and expecting different results. Dating the same men and expecting different results. Shacking up with the same men and expecting different results. Not gonna wake up yet. Damn near everything you've probably potentially been doing is either off, wrong, or inaccurate for leading you towards the goal that is that you actually say you want and claim to want. Man, I think we already mentioned that one. Thank you again, sir, for that. And then 2KSCOO, I just started growing my hair. Do you think it will always be hard to get through certain doors, and maybe that could change? I really like having hair. I'm assuming you're a gentleman. People can do what they want. My lens, it starts a lot with the field you work in and whether or not you plan on going independent or becoming an entrepreneur in the future. When you want to work in a model or situation where a lot of the people culturally and racially are similar to you, you're probably fine. But the moment you're entering into spaces with a lot of people who don't understand your culture or understand your background, and you want to have super long hair, there's just pros and cons that come with it. You may feel more authentically yourself, but again, that can negatively impact you in certain areas. Maybe a great example is certain times people just want a clean cut look when it comes to representation for their respective business. Clean cut. It's not really about race. It's just clean cut look. They don't want the crazy look. They don't want the bright hair. They want in their mind, a clean cut universal look where you can go anywhere and fit into anywhere. Just come with the territory. And I did both, man. I don't regret the locks that I had and how long it did. I didn't really foresee that it prevented too many things, but I did see that once I got to a certain ceiling, the moment I cut my hair, a whole lot of additional opportunities were literally on the other side. And I had advanced pretty far with just my locks. That's real. Impossible? No. I think that we can do most things keeping our hair at whatever length. But the idea that every single door is open, having extra, non-normal, corporate world expectations, not doing that, no, usually going to be something to it. But it's not the end all be all. You just want to be talented and smart enough to be able to try to navigate that in a whole host of ways that you may be able to versus somebody that's extremely dependent on one thing, one job, one opportunity, and are at the mercy of whether or not they like your hairstyle that day. So, I think that's equally as important, honestly. Steve M7736, thank you, sir, for the $2. I love ladies, but only 10% of women are ladies. Anita from Better Love Movement said 80% of women aren't wife material. Time will tell, but I'm gonna tell you this: less and less ladies are being seen for anything more than what I've said. And again, man, listening to the drag queens, listening to the people who ain't even attracted to women that are men, listening to women who aren't even attracted to men that are women, that's gonna come back to bite y'all real big and real bad. So, it's going to take time for, I think, a lot of ladies, unfortunately, to wake up and realize it. But I hope that videos like this and many of the other people, men and women, Sarah Fontenot, I think, has done a really great job. Obviously, Taylor Chandler, Taylor Burrows, who else? Maggie, the substitute. There's definitely some women who I'm recommending and I'm, again, inviting and bringing on these platforms and collaborating with that I think are onto it. They have a way to communicate this, and they're great with letting the guys know what they're doing wrong. The main point that I'm going to get at, man, for the course of this particular evening is, and I know I've already held y'all for 2 hours plus, so I'm not even going to. I'm sorry, y'all, that's currently sitting in there in the thing. I'm gonna do one where it's just call-ins because I'm honestly tired. I've been doing this. I shot earlier. I did 3 hours last night. I'm mentally, emotionally spent. So I apologize for the people who are currently sitting in the background. I am going to make it up to y'all probably this month soon. So I'll make sure that all y'all get sent the link directly. And we'll probably just do a random just call-in show, period. So that everybody just is able, we'll just do a whole call-in show. Married women, single women, and even other topics as well. Because I'm tired. So I'm just eyeballing the comments right now to kind of close things out. Yeah, man, it's tough. This is a touchy topic. And then got the weaves and the beer weaves. I'm just skimming through to see if there's any interesting, funny, or interesting comments before I kind of close out. Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough when I think a lot of ladies don't realize, and it makes sense to me. If you ask men that are very successful or extremely successful with women and who have no intentions to be in a relationship with you, what they think about you and what you could improve on or shift or change, that's probably the realest, rawest information you're going to get outside of a family member. A guy who has options with women, isn't interested in you, and doesn't want you, probably isn't nearly as worried about losing out on the opportunity to be able to sleep with you in the future. That guy will tell you the truth if you're open to asking it. So highly, highly recommend a lot of the people that's been on my channel, the people I've mentioned just about 2 minutes ago. I think this is going to be interesting, man. Shoes, Jeff, dudes get rejected for the shoes they wore. Yeah, man, shoes can change. The type of man that's willing to take care of you and die for you and be there after the baby is born, that's not nearly as common. And I hope that ladies start to wake up and realize, man, that there's a lot more to relationships than just your laundry list of expectations that you pull from your girlfriends and from the internet, for sure. All right, y'all. So your boy is tired. I'm actually legit tired. I'm about to crash and actually get something to eat. So, man, I hope that this is helpful. I hope that this is thought-provoking. I hope that it helps you over the rest of the course of 2026 just reevaluate and go back into brainstorming mode. Because again, if you're able to get degrees, if you're able to live on your own, if you're able to rent, do mortgage, own cars, travel, and do all this other stuff, you can figure out men. And if y'all keep telling us that men are so simple, why do y'all keep ending up not being able to do life with any of them? Maybe there's a couple things that are a little bit more complicated than the simplistic way and approach of how you've been attempting to approach dealing and interacting with men. There's one thing that I'm going to say, and I'm going to close this out before I play our last sponsor for this evening. Out of all the relationships, ladies, out of all the situationships, one-night stands, messy situations you found yourself in involving all the countless men from your teens to today. If you're single, there's one common denominator. And it's not the different men and the different types of men. It's you. It's been you in all of these situations. Doesn't mean that any of these men have never done anything wrong. But it's you that was okay with sleeping with them. It's you that was okay with getting pregnant by them. It's you that found it acceptable for them to never have to be around your family or friends. It's you that felt safe enough to be able to travel with them, but not secure enough for people to know who they are. It's you. You're the common denominator. So if you actually want to not just be, well, I'm not single anymore, no, but actually be secure, actually be in a long-term relationship, it starts not with men. It starts with you. So yeah, man, I am going to close out our last sponsor for this evening, which is Usable Botanical Farms. Appreciate you guys for showing love and always showing support. Everybody that's watching this, man, please make sure you like this. Share it with all of your homegirls, women, your girlfriends, your homegirls, your cousins, your mother, your aunties. Send it to any and every woman that you know that you care about. Even the ones that's upset with you. Now, still send it to them. Let them be upset with me, but at least know that you sent it to them. So I'm going to play our ad for Usable Botanical Farms, and then I'm going to close things out, and I'm going to see y'all bright and early next week. Stay tuned. Yeah, man. So everybody that's tuned in, man, shout out to everybody that supported this particular week, especially everybody that was fans of the the men's table that we started last week and continued into this week. That was super fun, and we actually do plan to continue it and keep building on it and inviting different guests that we think are important and relevant to that space for men to be able to sit down and have the difficult, tough conversations that are often avoided, like this conversation tonight. And excited, man. Excited about next week. So listen, man, we're going to have some interviews lined up next week, at least one, if not two. We're definitely going to try to do a men's table next Wednesday evening at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time as well. Next Thursday, I mentioned it yesterday that I got a big goal, a big show lined up for that. And I'm gonna have a couple guys and some titans when it comes to debates that's going to be coming through, and we are going to tackle something, a big issue in this whole discussion about relationships and the manosphere, and we're going to actually start mentioning some names. I think it's time for us to start mentioning some names, show evidence of what we're talking about, and then actually pointing out exactly what it is they're doing, their strategy, and how it is that they're actually causing harm and content to women and contributing to the gender divide. So stay tuned for that for sure. And like I told you guys before, Monday coming up, our movie book club, all the links to everything I'm ever mentioning is on our channel description. So guys, feel free to check it out, whether it's the men's social improvement group that we do on Tuesdays at 7 Eastern Standard Time, every single Tuesday. It's virtual, where we literally just wrapped up our book with Dr. Peterson. We're now about to start watching a film that's going to help us with reevaluating fatherhood and the struggles of masculinity and our identity being so rooted to our economics and our ability to make money and to provide. On Mondays, we have our movie book club that me and Mr. Ilosophical have recently started, and absolutely loved the first two turnouts. We have double-digit people that turned in for that. We're watching different scenes of movies and reacting and responding to it, connecting it to our real everyday lives and some of the lessons that we can take from it. The Matrix as a starting point was a phenomenal thing of just opening our eyes about all the different ways that we have different rules and matrices to kind of set up that kind of keeps us from being able to be our authentic selves in our real everyday lives. Like I said, Taylor, her and I pretty soon will hopefully be making an announcement to you all with an additional third party about a big plan and venture that we're going to be potentially doing, maybe even announcing as soon as this month. So stay tuned for that, as well as some projects that her and I are working on personally that we hopefully will be announcing in the next month or two as well. So guys, if you are not a subscriber, please make sure that you subscribe. Please make sure that you like this video. Send it and share it to everybody that you can. Shout out to both of our sponsors for today's episode and for the channel. And thank everybody. And again, y'all, for those who are asking about the teeth, Dent Spa from Turkey, Dent Spa, DENTSPA. Tell them that Ask a Brother Jeff St. James sent you, and be looking for that very nice discount when you mention that. And listen, y'all, if y'all keep mentioning it, who knows? They may become a sponsor for the channel as well. I may even bring on one of their dentists and interview them about the idea of them talking about the importance of dental hygiene and how it is absolutely life-changing when it comes to how society and the world and other people treat you. And that's why image, of course, matters. So listen, y'all, it is late. Your boy is tired. I'm going to, of course, even if I close out of this, I tend to try to skim through all the different comments and stuff just to see if there's anything important that I might have missed or need to follow up on for sure. So listen, y'all, have a good evening. And thank you, Mrs. Plum, for sure. So have a good evening. See y'all bright and early Monday next week. Enjoy y'all weekends. If I don't do anything between now and then, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to between now and the end and throughout the weekend. And listen, we all got work to do. We all got to grow. We all have to try to improve. We have work to do to become better men and better women, not just for ourselves, but for society, for culture, for our communities. And if we're not willing to self-improve, we can't keep complaining about what it is that we see. So, ladies, you got some work to do. And eventually I'm going to get back to the men and start. And listen, when we get to that men's table, we're going to be saying some tough stuff as well. So I hope that this was, again, helpful, interesting. And again, for those that want to do the whole call-in show, like I said, I'm going to do one where it's strictly just that. So everybody that was in the background, I told y'all I'm going to kick y'all different links. Make sure that y'all come through the next time, and just from start to finish, just do strictly call-in. Don't even do much for like setting the table. We just jump in, and it could be, popcorn style. It could just be random questions. It could be relational questions. I'll figure that out. But I'm actually glad that I was able to get through a lot of the notes that I had preparing for this. And I hope that it was, again, informative, thought-provoking. more importantly, that it motivates you to actually move in a direction of actually addressing the real monkey in the elephant in the room, you. So listen, y'all, have a good night. See y'all on the other side, and talk to y'all soon.